In this lesson, we're going to be covering the options under the Insert tab. So if you do want to insert cells, you can insert cells by shifting to the right or to shift down. So you can do this by highlighting the cell that you want to insert, where you want to insert, and then selecting under the Insert. So right now it inserted this blank cell, shifting the cells over to the right. So in order to undo it, you can always select under Edit, Undo, and that will bring the cells back to how it originally was. And then once again, if you do want to insert cells, you can insert individual cells within your spreadsheet under the Insert. There's also an option to insert rows. So selecting Insert Rows. So currently I have row 11 selected within the spreadsheet. I can insert a row above. So that's going to shift row 11 down to 12 and insert a blank row above it. I'm going to undo that, and there's also an insert below. If you want to insert more than one row, you have to select as many rows as you want to insert. And the way to select multiple rows is you can hold the Shift key down on your keyboard and then select the number of rows that you want to insert. And then under Insert, now if you go to Rows, you're going to see that you can insert 5 rows above or 5 rows below. So the number of rows that you do want to insert, you'd have to select them within the sheet, and also that the cells and the columns are now going to be grayed out. I can also insert a brand new sheet from here using the keyboard shortcut, or I can select it as a sheet. So that's going to just insert a brand new sheet. So the same option that I had down here at the bottom left, where I add a sheet, and it will automatically select the next number. So I have added in sheet number 3 and 4, although I've deleted them. So that's where it's going to 5. If I delete this one, the next sheet that it's going to insert is going to be sheet number 6. So it will keep incrementing sequentially, and even if the sheets are removed, it will take whatever the next number was that the sheets that have been inserted into this particular spreadsheet. Also, if you are selecting columns and you want to insert multiple columns, you can highlight the columns. And once you've highlighted the columns, the same way as with the rows, you can now insert 3 columns to the left or to the right of the selection. If you insert it to the left, it will move the content over. In this case, I do have a protected range. So it's going to indicate that there was a protected range, and because I'm inserting, it's changed the protected range. So let's go ahead and we'll undo that. And if we do want to remove out the protective ranges that we saw before, we can select the protected ranges, and then we can select and delete those protected ranges. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the protected range so that way we won't get the error message anymore. Also under the Insert, we can insert a people chip. So what a people chip is, that this is going to be the email of the users that are selected. So in this case, we threw an error because this isn't formatted to receive the people chip. So the best option is usually for a blank cell, and then that's where you can do the insert, and you select the people chip, and it will show you the people that currently have access to the document. So I've got the 2 accounts here, and I can insert them using either the people chip, or I can select it and type in the @ symbol, and that's going to have the same pop-up window as the people chip and allow me to select the people that are currently have access to the spreadsheet. And it will insert it according to the user's name within the contact list. And if you hover over it, it's going to do the user's card where you can open and get additional details for that user. So it's not going to insert the email address, but it will use the name. And if you hover over it, that's where you can see the email address that's being used. Just like any other content within the spreadsheet, you can select those and delete those. There's also a checkbox. So in some cases, when you are creating spreadsheet content, you might want to use a checkbox. So the checkboxes just show up as checkboxes, and when the users click them, they can either uncheck them or check them. Notice that within the formula, it will have a Boolean value, so that's either true or false. If it's checked, that means that the value is going to be true. If it's unchecked, it's going to be false. And you can select the cell to see what the value is. If you select on top of the checkbox, then it's going to automatically toggle the checkbox. So if you do want to see just the value, you have to click anywhere on the cell, but not on the checkbox itself, because clicking on the checkbox will automatically toggle the content. There's also a link option. So what the link option does is it allows you to add in some text, and then you can link to other parts of your content. You can search or paste a link in here. So let's go ahead and we're going to search for a link. So I've got A10. So that's going to be the cell over here. I'm going to select it, and now that is going to link to the A10 of the sheet, which is going to be the cell with the contents of A9. So it's not looking for the contents of the cell, but it's looking for the A9 value. The A10 value is how it's reading the sheet. You can also copy the link, or you can edit the link, or you could remove the link just by selecting the cell with the link. Let's go ahead and we're going to edit the link. We can also select the range of cells that we want to link to. So let's do that, where we're going to select a range, and we'll select sheet number 2, and this is going to be the range that that link is now going to link to. And now whenever we click it, it's going to take us to that range. So this is an easy way that if you have a lot of content within your spreadsheets, that you can switch from one sheet to another and get selected cells and content and be able to easily navigate to it. So that's where you can use the links. If you want to remove it or update it, then you can just select the cell, and this is where you can copy, edit, or remove the link. And it will also indicate what the range is that it's linked to. So here we see that it's sheet 2 with the exclamation mark in the range that it's selected, and then the value of it is going to be test 1. Let's go ahead and insert a function. So the functions are going to be the same as what we saw with the formula bar. So if we do want to produce a sum, we can select function sum, and there it will automatically populate the formula bar with the sum function. And from there we can select the various values and continue to build out our formula and provide the value for the formula. So we can at any point select from all of the available formulas, and it gives you a nice drop-down list of all of those formulas, which we are going to be looking at later on in the lessons. So these are just some more options to make your spreadsheet content more interactive with Insert.